Like every other Indian, or second Indian, I want to be a doctor. A cardiologist to be precise. And I have a reason. I want to perform the surgery my mother is going to need next time for her heart. It's the winter of 2008, I'm 20, in New Delhi, India, where I live, in my room, sitting on my computer, reading my PDF notes for one last time before the biggest step of my life, to appear in the medical school admission exam next morning. It is then my mother steps in the room and she says, "Let's go for a walk." And a walk, in this case, means 50 steps precisely, slow as you can imagine, in our balcony on the first floor. A square of concrete with dust on the floor, stairs to the right, open on one side, and noise. If you have been to India, you know the noise I'm talking of. All the noise, the loud noise of city of Delhi spilling in from all direction into that tiny square block balcony. Nothing was, aesthetic about that balcony, but it was a space where my mother and I would step into at the end of the day, every day, whenever we needed to breathe. It was a ritual. I would hold her hand, and she would sometimes lean on me, and we would talk for hours sometimes. And about just random shit, how a human body evolves from a fertilized egg to an embryo to a whole human baby, or the neighbor who threw the garbage in the wrong place once again, or the school, or how she believed that I am the only person who can save her. And she repeated that every single time when we would walk. I would always laugh at it, and we would finish the walk, and that would end up being her wanting to sleep in my lap, which I disliked, so that would escalate into an argument. And my father would walk in, he would laugh at all this chaos, and we would have dinner together. So life was pretty simple in its all tiny of these moments. 10 years ago, in 1998, my mother was diagnosed with something called mitral valve stenosis, a mouthful. But it means the blood between the left chambers of her heart was not flowing very well. The flap valve was stuck, so the blood between the chambers couldn't flow. It was stuck like a door. And she spent 2 months in the hospital for that surgery. In those 2 months, I didn't visit her. Not even once. She kept longing for me, but I couldn't muster courage to visit her even once. As a 10-year-old, I was scared. I was scared of seeing her vulnerable, weak. I was scared that she might not return home, after all. But she did. But she returned with a huge scar down her chest like a zipper. That was the evidence that her body was ripped open, her beating heart was cut to replace that valve. After her return, as she would rest, I would sit next to her and listen to the clicking of that new plastic valve, like a heartbeat made of plastic. 15 years, that's what the doctor said. In 15 years, that plastic implant will have to be replaced. And it's not going to be easy because it's the second time. And as a 10-year-old, I planned my life like a blueprint around that. I have 15 years to finish my high school, pass this medical school entrance exam, get my undergrad, and get a master's in cardiology. I will be the one to perform that surgery. And she trusts me. I thought if I can run fast enough and meet each of these targets in time, this is my moment, I can rescue her. And now, the night before the exam, she walks into my room and says, "Gaurav, let's go for a walk." To that I say, just give me 5 minutes, 5 more minutes before I finish this preparation for the exam tomorrow, and then we will go for a walk. She looks at me, smiles, and walks out of the room to the bathroom and says, I'll be back. And I got back to studying. I wait and wait and wait. Next morning, I'm standing in front of this massive, simmering fire, holding my dad as he hands me a wooden spear, points to the fire, and says, strike it here with force. In the fire lies my mother, who didn't return. I do as I am told. I take the spear, grip in my right hand, pull its entire length back, and strike to rip open her skull, to let her soul pass to the lands far beyond. That is a ritual. My mother died that night. But it was also the day the cardiologist died. I never appeared for the exam and never applied again either. It was the heart that I wanted to heal, but it was also the heart that I never touched. As I stand here, thousands of miles away from my home, and I think of her, I don't think of the hospital that I didn't visit. I don't think of the fire, but I think of the ritual. The ritual. The balcony. Those slow 50 steps every night. And the boy who promised to save that heart, but never did. And I can't get over it.